This is part two of my elderberry antiviral tincture that I make. Now, I'm going to state something. I'm not a medical doctor, I'm an herbalist. I work with herbs. I'm not saying this will cure anything or fix anything. This is what I do, this is what I like. And I find it soothing, builds my immune, and it is a known antiviral. Long before the day of YouTube, people have been using things like elderberry, licorice, and chaga. This is one of the main ingredients in my tincture. This is known as chaga. Chaga grows on the birch, both the white, yellow, and then some other types of deciduous tree, most commonly on the white birch and yellow birch. You can tell chaga by this yellow, chalky, hard growth on the inside. When you're out, when you're looking for chaga, you're going to see that growing on a birch tree, on the outside of a birch tree. It looks like a growth. Then you take some off. When you pick chaga, always leave a minimum of 1/3, please, because it helps the tree and we need to preserve it in nature. There's a lot out there. You can go wild craft it. Go get it or buy it. You can buy it online and it's usually reasonable. Don't pay more than, say, $40 for a whole pound of it. And a pound of chaga can last a lifetime. Like this chunk here, I'll make about 1, 2, 3 large jars of tincture, that I do in my mason. And it goes a long way. You can take pieces of chaga, that size there, like 1 ounce, and then you can make a tea out of it, and then you can save that piece, and you can make a tea tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. It'll last for like 20 teas. It'll keep coming out this beautiful yellow color. The yellow is a bitulinic acid. If you want to learn more about chaga on its own, I recommend Dr. Cass Ingram. He's a specialist in this, and he's who taught me about this. And it's great stuff. It's the highest antioxidant on the planet Earth. I can't say enough about chaga. That's it. And it's free. It comes off a birch tree. Here's another active ingredient in my antiviral tincture. This is known as ucenia. I only learned about this a couple of seasons ago. Cliff High it was this year. Cliff High was talking about the powers of ucenia. Old man's beard. We washed it good. It's still got chunks of wood in it. That's okay. We washed it. Nature doesn't have things out there that are going to cause you a lot of problems. You wash it off. And then we're going to an alcohol and a boil. So this makes it very safe to think. Make it at home. Don't spend the big bucks on tinctures, because a lot of tinctures, number one, are very expensive. But number two, they don't do the whole spectrum. The whole spectrum is a secret. Okay, so this is the ucenia. And you can ask me, where do I get ucenia? That's where I get it. We happen to live in an area where chaga and ucenia grow. So we're able to wildcraft and collect our own. In this last batch here that I made, I added some Reshi, Rhodiola. Reshi, that's 2 different things. Reshi mushroom and Rhodiola, which are both adaptogens. I bought this on Amazon because I didn't have any of my elderberries that I would normally have. I'm going to grow elderberry around our property, but it's easy to collect. You can go out and find elderberry. You don't need to spend any money. This wasn't that much. I got it on Amazon. It's like $20. And it was a good quality, too, because it's really made a nice blackberry flavor. It's got a really nice scent to it. They're dehydrated, small pieces. And once I rehydrated with the juice, they came up big and fat and plump like a real elderberry. So I'm going to go through anyway here with part 2 on how to make your tincture. Now, if you watch part 1, first let me show off my little flowers. These are cornflower echinacea. We're going to grow these around the property so that we have that to make tinctures with too. Okay, not to get too sidetracked here. I revert. So in the first part of my tincture, I soaked all of my different herbs. Here's another one that was in it. I'll itemize at the end of my video the stuff I put in it and roughly how much. It's not a big science. You don't have to have exact measures. This is licorice root. Licorice root, again, is a highly antiviral in the body, and it's good for your body. It's good for your liver and your kidneys. Licorice has been used for 5,000 years. TCM, Chinese medicine, been using this for thousands of years. And it's a great thing. And it gives your tincture a beautiful flavor. Okay, so in part one, we threw all of our dried herbs. Not that that's going to fit. We threw all our dried herbs into a jar. This, the mushroom, the elderberry. We threw them in the jar. And then we dumped over Bacardi rum. I don't care what kind of rum you use. You can use vodka. You can use any kind of a consumable spirit that you choose. I suggest a clear spirit. But if you're a Scotch fan, it won't make any difference. Okay, so put them all in the jug. Fill it so that the herbs are covered with alcohol. Put on a lid. Keep it in a dark place. Something I do. I don't care if you do. It's something I heard years ago. I've always followed. I always like to put my tincture out in the full moon because apparently it does things to your tincture for potency. So I do it. And I don't know if it works any better. I'd be lying if I said it worked better or worse, but it's something I do. Okay, so we put them all in there. They soaked in the alcohol for 6 weeks. Every once in a while, go take your jar and give it a couple rolls, and then put it back away. You don't have to stir it. Don't shake it. Just give it a few nice rolls and then put it away. And when 6 weeks, or you can leave it 8 weeks, you can leave it 10, but leave it at least 4. Leave it a month so that it pulls all the goodness out of this into the alcohol. Now, like I said in part one, every herb on this planet has both water soluble and alcohol solvent solubles in the plant itself. You don't know, this has 4,000 different compounds in it. Some are water soluble, some are soluble by alcohol. We don't know which ones do what, but we do know it's best to take the whole spectrum. It's the same if you use CBD. CBD is something that's an amazing herb, but they make it from hemp. That don't make it CBD. It has to come from the full spectrum. Partially alcohol soluble, partially water soluble. That's important. That's the key to making a concoction, not just a tincture. So this is a concoction. So here's part one. That's all that beautiful juice that's soaked in the herbs. Just the alcohol. That's 40% alcohol. You can go stronger. You want to end up with a finished tincture around 25%, just so you know. 25% alcohol. That way it keeps. Here's all my stuff from the jar. Then I threw it into a pot with water. And this just sat and stewed for 3 hours. And on a slow boil. No, you don't need to get no bubbles going on. Just, steam and light, put a lid on, let it sit for 3 hours. And you want to end up with equal amounts of the alcohol portion and the water soluble. Some of the alcohol will come back out in these herbs. They'll come back out and back into the water. So still, it'll make the water partially, with alcohol in it as well. It'll have a content of alcohol. Look at this. Look at this. That's a nice big piece of chaga that was in the tea or was into the slow boil. So this is my water soluble. This is my alcohol soluble. In the end, they get blended together. I use honey to give it a nice sweet flavor, which is also a preservative. The honey is a preservative. So the combination of alcohol and honey, this stuff, I'm not going to say, but you could drink it 25 years from now and it would still be beneficial, vital, herbal concoction. How do you use this stuff? I use a dropper bottle, a 2-ounce dropper bottle, and I take a tube of it and I put it under my tongue every day. And so does my lady. We use it every day. We don't get colds. And if you were to get a flu, again, I'm not a doctor, but if you were to get a flu or a virus, I would say I would be taking myself, I'd be taking a 1-ounce shot of this every 3 hours. And it wouldn't be long kicking it out of you. Because in the old days, even the elderberry, you read in the old books, the old herbal books, they use this alone. And the ucenia, the old man's beard from the forest, they use that alone. And just in a tea. And it was curing people that were very sick. So I call this very potent. This is a potent tincture. This is an effective tincture. It does two things. It builds your immune system. Why? Because of adaptogens. Chaga and all of the 5 sigma mushrooms and the Reshi and the Rhodiola. They're all adaptogens. And they find a way to balance your immune system. And they work. I've had periods in my life where I was very sick. And when I went on to these treatments, I got good results. Will you? I don't know. But I did. I promise you, I did. So anyway, I'm not going to film all this. I'm going to clean this out. And I'm going to strain it. And I'm going to filter it through coffee filters. Then I'm going to add part 1 with part 2 with the honey. And then it's going to go back in a jar. And from the jar, store it in a dark place. Keep it in a cool, dark place. Fill your bottles as you need them. Share it with a friend. Give some to mom. Give some to dad. This is good for older people like me because our immune's starting to weaken as we get aged. This will strengthen your immune. This will make you feel better. Some people literally, even when they take chaga tea, they say they literally get a buzz from it. They're hype. It calms me down. It has different effects on other people. But some people say, oh man, I can't take that chaga at night. I was up till 3 a.m. reading. So use it, fairly sparingly, unless you get sick. And then what I would do, I would take an ounce every 3 hours until I kicked that thing out of me in 48 hours. And I'm pretty sure there isn't too many viruses that can withstand, if you're using the right herbal, fasting, and staying well hydrated, you can beat a lot of things. Your body can beat a lot of things. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.